That's right. Welcome in, welcome back to a Time to Smoke a Virginia Slim edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd appreciate that. Give the video a thumbs up upon its completion. If you approve of the content, I'd appreciate that very much as well. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at JKZND4. Emails, alwaysIrishND@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You could get me. Always Irish Radio 312-900-8815. So, here's how I see this week for the Notre Dame football program. If Notre Dame wins this game, they're going 11-1, which is the best you could do at this point, given the game that we've lost. We are not losing to Georgia Tech. We're not losing to Stanford. Even as inconsistent as this Notre Dame team has been, those teams just have too many holes, and I just don't see how we lose to them, even though Stanford has a big win against Oregon. Still, I do not see a way we're losing those games. Therefore, this game sets you up to go 11-1, and you see what happens with the teams ahead of you after that and where the chips fall. Okay, we're at the point of the season where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. 11-1 is the light, but only if you beat this kind of odd Virginia team. Here's the thing. I don't say this often. You got to pick your spots philosophically when you're going to say what I'm going to say next, especially when it comes to college football, which is a beauty contest. It is not all just wins and losses, as the committee has proven week in and week out. Here's what I'm going to say, though. Just win this game. I don't care what it looks like. Just win this game Saturday night. I don't care what it looks like. Now, I know, John, you're always the guy. Oh, it's got to be style points, and just getting the win isn't good enough. We got to look good doing it. Here's the deal. You got to pick your spots philosophically to go down that road. For instance, if you're Notre Dame and you're undefeated, all you got to do is keep winning, and they can't screw you if you keep winning if you're undefeated. If you're a Notre Dame team, keep winning. If you're undefeated, go for it. Keep winning. They can't bump you down that much if you go undefeated. Once you lose a game, though, then you're in a beauty contest with everybody else who's lost one, and you got to go through all that. But given that I don't see us losing the two games after this, I really think Saturday's a situation where you just got to find a way to win. I don't care if it's frustrating, whatever. Yeah, I'm still going to have a post-game show and nitpick stuff. But ultimately, you get over this hump. I think 11-1 is I don't want to say a lock, but it's looking pretty good. Okay? So just figure out a way to get through this ball game. I don't really care what it looks like. In my mind, you win this game, we're going 11-1. It's the best you could do. Just find a way to get through it. Okay? There's lots of teams ahead of us that play each other and have other hard games late in November. Notre Dame's schedule isn't that tough if you get by this ball game the rest of the way. Sit back, let people beat each other, see where you end up. Okay? See where you end up. But the only way to not get screwed in all this in a beauty contest is to go undefeated. There's only so much they could do with you when you have no losses and you're playing big brand names, whether they're down or not. This committee sucks. Everybody knows that. Head-to-head matters for some teams, comparing them to one another. Michigan State just happened a week ago. Doesn't seem to matter. It makes no sense. Philosophically, this committee makes no sense. They contradict themselves. They apply a certain logic to one situation, but not to others when they're looking at the same exact thing. I don't get it. But I hate it, and I hate that room full of nerds that think they're smarter than the actual game results. It's like, if only there was a way to compare two teams with identical records to figure out which one should be ranked ahead of the other one. If only there was a way to measure them against each other, that would really help out the whole operation. Well, what if those teams play each other and one of them beats the other one? Is that not good enough evidence of who's better than the other? Apparently it's not with Michigan State. I don't get it, and I hate the committee. Okay? So let's circle this back to Virginia. I said earlier Virginia's a bit odd because of the dynamics of everything they have going on. They have a potentially explosive passing offense, a god-awful defense in every way possible. But all of this hinges on the question mark they currently have at the quarterback position and Armstrong's ribs. So this is all up in the air. This ball game has been flexed into the 6:30 ABC window. Expect the full boat, loud night away crowd drinking all day. Expect that all for this game. Excuse me. Broncos out here playing mind games about his quarterback status while Brian Kelly was giving Armstrong the Heisman in his press conference earlier this week. He came off the field against BYU after taking a rib shot, and people heard him saying, "It's broke, it's broke." Maybe he heard and or felt a crack in his rib cage. He came back out, tried another throw, flat-footed, couldn't get anything on it or behind it. His availability or not, or if he can play, how much he could step into throws, is a huge moving factor in how hard of a game this is going to be for us or not. Obviously, if he can't play, that swings things in Notre Dame's favor big time. If he does try to play, here's the thing. Some of you aren't going to like this. I don't care. If this kid plays, Notre Dame needs to take multiple hard but totally legal shots at his rib cage repeatedly. Oh, John, that's wrong. You're such a jerk. I said legal hits, totally legal, but targeted directly at his ribs. So you could think that's wrong or not. That's just how I see the game of football. You know that is a weak spot. Legal hits, tap this dude up right in that rib cage early and often. Make that a priority for the defense if he plays. Let it be known. We're going for that spot legally. But I want him lit up on whatever side that rib cage is early and often. We got a game to win. I want legal hits on those ribs. Period. What I want to look at first is this Virginia offense. And again, the caveat is out there. This is all the dynamic stuff that this offense can do on the Virginia side is dictated by Armstrong. If he doesn't play, scrap everything I'm about to say. But I would rather go preparing to have to play their best player than to not and be surprised when he shows up, takes the field. Let's start with Bronco. I respect him, always have. I think he's a good, strong football coach. Virginia's 6-3 coming in. They played in lots of high-scoring shootouts. With a healthy Armstrong, they can be very explosive. Not a great week to have Hamilton's status still up in the air. Brian Kelly's playing it quiet about his availability. I don't know what to expect. Definitely not great to have your best defensive player, who's a safety, unavailable for a team that likes to throw the ball all over and does well doing that. So that's just football. That's life. Bad luck, whatever you want to call it. So there's no doubt Virginia is one of the best overall offenses in the country. Scored 30 or more points in 8 out of their 9 games. 7th in S&P plus, 10th in points per drive, 4th in yards per play. Okay? They average a robust 39 points per game and have scored more than that 6 times. If Armstrong's a full go, What makes this offense hard to defend is that they spread the ball around to multiple different receiving targets. It's not like USC where you could say Drake London, that's the guy. You stop him, we're going to win. That's not the case. They like to spread it around, okay? They got 4 receiving targets with 50 or more targets already. Number one concern I don't like is tight end Jelani Woods. 265 pounds, and oh, by the way, 6'7". That is a monster tight end target, especially in the red zone. That's one of those post up and throw the ball up and let him box a guy out like basketball, make the play, or have a guy half his size in the secondary getting a penalty trying to guard him because he's 6'7". Wide receiver Wicks, he averages 23 yards per reception. Thompson is a 6'4", primarily slot guy who's forced 38 missed tackles on the year between handoffs and receiving targets. Okay, Henry averages 18 yards a catch. Lots of deep shots in this offense. Prepare accordingly. Even with Hamilton out, you cannot afford miscommunication lapses on the back end. I thought you had that guy. I thought you had that guy. Nobody has that guy, and it's an easy, quick 7 points for Virginia. Can't have it. This is not our first game without Hamilton. You can't act like you're surprised. Step up, maintain your responsibilities, and play solid defense this week. Okay? They're 16th in the country in third down conversions. The run game is not great, but it does just enough to keep defenses aware of it. Interesting note. Armstrong averaged 6.5, 7 carries a ball game throughout the year to this point. Their actual starting running back averages almost the same amount of carries per game as Armstrong. My question philosophically is, if Armstrong plays but has a rib issue, how is that going to affect their willingness to want him to carry the ball as a carrier? Okay, I think that's an impact. Overall, though, 64% passing offense. They want to sling it, and they are not afraid to throw the ball deep early and often. That makes me a little nervous without Hamilton back there. That secondary makes me nervous. It just does. Okay, so everybody needs to understand the dynamic. They're going to throw the ball. You got to be ready for it on that back end. Make them earn any points. You can't give up any cheapies. Okay, so I'm fine in this ball game giving up bunches of yards, just not touchdowns. That's the key to me defensively. They can move the ball all they want. Just keep them out of the damn end zone. Their offensive numbers jump off the page, but they also haven't played a defense as good as Notre Dame's, even with the challenges with injuries and inconsistency we've had. They have not faced a defense as good as ours. Okay? Notre Dame needs to do all they can to limit the touchdowns, especially with how bad Virginia's defense is. We should be able to score. You just don't want to get into a shootout. Get pressure, limit those touchdowns in the red zone. No blown assignments on the back end, falling for trick plays, all of that. No, you just can't have it. I know this team is going to put up yardage if Armstrong's playing. Fine. You got to limit them to 3, not 7s. And if they're going to get 7s, make them earn it going all the way down the field. What you can't have against this Virginia team is a busted coverage 80-yard pass for a touchdown in 5 seconds. That kind of shootout mentality, that's not good in a night game on the road with an explosive offense. Notre Dame needs to stay out of that at all costs. So be sound, get pressure, make them drive the entire field to earn their points. No cheapies, no reverse trick plays, flip it back, throw it a guy's white. No. Can't have any of that. So it all depends on Armstrong's availability, and even if he does play, what condition he's in. It makes you a little nervous. You don't have your best defensive player in the position group that it probably will matter the most to defend this team that likes to throw the ball. You just got to figure it out. You don't have to be perfect, but you got to do some basic things very, very well. These busted coverages. I thought you had them. No. I'm picturing them throwing it deep. We're not in position. We're pulling them, getting penalties. No. Just play good, solid, respectable secondary defense. Please. They like to throw it around. Pick them off. Cause pressure. Oh, they like to throw it deep a lot. If you cause pressure, they will not have time to do that. Okay? Very simple. So it's all going to depend on Armstrong's availability and how he's feeling if he is playing. They're going to get yards. It just can't end in touchdowns. That's the entire key. Get down to that red zone, squeeze them, let them kick their three, and then we run through their horrific defense, and we get sevens. I can live with that. Flipping over to the Notre Dame offensive side of the ball. As good and eye-popping as Virginia's numbers are on offense, they absolutely suck at defense. They're not good at stopping the run. They're not good at stopping the pass. 110th in points allowed per drive out of 130 teams. 116th in yards per play. 118th in run stuff rate. They give up an average of 6 yards per carry on the ground. Good for 123rd in the country. 122nd in sack rate. They have 11 all year. Most of them came in the same 2 games. 115th in tackles for a loss. Their defense is horrific. Plain and simple. They're terrible and have been terrible against teams that have a lot less talent than Notre Dame. Notre Dame should be able to run the ball or throw the ball as much as they want, wherever they want, all day. Pick your poison and execute. With a team that can score as fast as Virginia can with these long pass plays, quick strikes. Notre Dame cannot afford 2 or 3 and outs to start the game in a hostile night road game environment. False starts. Hey, we're doing all that at home, so it wouldn't surprise me if we did it away too. You can't afford that. This is the second week in a row where I'm going to say, if Notre Dame isn't scoring every drive, it's our fault. Halfway through November, I ain't here for that. Score early, score often. And oh, by the way, we need 7s, not 3s. Against this defense, 3s do nothing for me. Not interested. I think you could line up and hand the ball to Kyron and Diggs all day if you wanted. They are terrible. Notre Dame needs to avoid a shootout at all costs. That's my fear. We score often-ish, but also have confusion on the back end with no Hamilton. Get lit up by some big chunk plays. Can't have that. That's not a good environment for Notre Dame to be in at a night game on the road in some shootout with the home team. No, not interested. So when we have the ball, I expect 7s. This team cannot play respectable defense. Score touchdowns every time you get the damn ball. Oh, John, nobody could do that. You're exaggerating. No, I'm not. This team sucks at defense. Run it, pass it, do whatever you want to do. Just score sevens, okay? Basic things. Play good defense in the red zone. Us score touchdowns in the red zone. Cause some turnovers. Allow no easy touchdowns, 60-yard bombs, trick plays. We fought for all that. Make Virginia earn their points the hard way. If Notre Dame wants to play ball control, you may be able to, as bad as their run defense is. Pick your poison. Again, this is a situation where I mean it. You just got to find a way to win this, and I think you're going 11-1. So I'm not going to get extremely caught up in what it looks like. You just need to get by this team, and I think 11-1's in the bag. Let everybody else beat each other up ahead of us or whatever. Will Hamilton play? Will Armstrong play? If he does, is he limited? If he doesn't, Notre Dame should win easy. If he doesn't, could go full, we have ourselves an interesting ball game because I have some questions about the back end of our defense. Okay, I need both sides of the ball to do their job. Marcus's guys got to make Virginia earn every score that they get. Nothing can be easy. Nothing can be easy in this ball game. The offense cannot afford 3 and outs because of our own mistakes. Drives without points. No, can't have it this week. Find a way. Be methodical. Score your sevens. Keep them out of the end zone. 11-1 awaits us. Okay, 11-1 awaits us. There's no reason to lose to this team, especially with how bad they are defensively. We just need to make sure whatever they do, they earn. No cheapies, no blown assignments, none of that stuff that's rattling around in my head as concerns can happen this week. So you're going to have to wait around all day. The good news is there's a bunch of good ball games that directly impact us that happen in the 11 o'clock slot. There's a couple of them. Then there's also a 2:30 game that impacts us as well. And it rolls right into our game. So as far as viewing goes, that all is going to work out beautifully. Let's just hope the teams we need to lose ahead of us, and it'll add some excitement to our ball game Saturday night. But the way I see this is you find a way to win this ball game no matter how it looks. You're going 11-1, and that in a rebuilding transitional type year is pretty darn solid, and we see where we fall. Okay, that's what I need to see. Interesting game that I think hinges on that quarterback position for Virginia, on how hard or maybe not hard it's going to be for Notre Dame to get this W. Okay, I want to see depressed Virginia people again, just like we did from the famous clip that's in my intro. But I want that all game, not the last second we need to beat a crappy Virginia team like we did back then when we had the sad guy hanging over the railing or whatever. So offensively, whatever you want to do, you're going to score sevens. You should be able to, or it's on you. Let's do it. Win it. Get to 11-1. See what happens. Smoke that Virginia Slim.